السلام دكتور.
Sorry, I forgot. Today I thought today is at 7 o'clock. I forgot it. Today is Sunday and it is at 6 o'clock. Okay. Okay. Thank you for reminding. Okay. As you know, we have discussed already the muscular system. So some features we have already studied. So what is muscle cell? Then we discuss the features of the muscle tissue. So it has four features: excitability, contractility, extensibility, and elasticity. Then we have discussed about the functions of the muscular system, that it helps in movement, then also maintaining the posture of the body, standing, sitting, all postures are maintained by the muscular system, then supporting of the body cavities inside the abdomen, thoracic region, then also guarding the entrance as well as exit of the body, like oral cavity, the nasal cavity, eye socket, everything. Then we discussed the three types of muscles, that is the skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle, and smooth muscle. We compared the three muscles. We discussed that the skeletal muscle, how what are the features of the cardiac muscle. Then we discussed about the smooth muscle. All these are the features of the three muscles and how they are different from each other. And then we discussed the skeletal muscle structure. Okay, the whole muscle, how the muscle is made up of muscle fiber bundles, and how the muscle bundles are made up of muscle fibers, and muscle fibers are nothing but the muscle cell, and within the muscle cell there will be myofibrils and myofilaments. Then we discussed about the structure of the skeletal muscle, the sarcolemma, that is the cell membrane, and the cytoplasm, that is called as the sarcoplasm. Sarco means muscle, so plasm is the cytoplasm within the muscle cell, and sarcolemma is the cell membrane. Then we had seen that there are two types of filaments, actin as well as the myosin filaments here. Then we had discussed the different types of skeletal muscle, that is the circular muscles, then the convergent, then parallel muscle as well as the pinnate muscle. So we had discussed these four types of muscles depending on their shape. Then we had discussed that the circular muscles which are near the eye cavity, that is called as the orbicularis oculi. Then the convergent muscle like the pectoralis major, then parallel muscles, strap muscles, and the spindle, biceps brachii. Then the pinnate, unipinnate, bipinnate, and multipinnate. So these are some of the features. These are the circular muscle fibers around the eyeball as well as the oral cavity. Then the muscles which like the strap muscles like the biceps brachii, which is fusiform, as well as this is the sartorius muscle. Then we had studied the pinnate muscles, unipinnate muscle here, one directional fibers all going in one direction. Then bipinnate muscle, these are bipinnate. And then we had discussed the deltoid, which is multipinnate muscle. Okay, so this is the pinnate, unipinnate muscles. Then these are the bipinnate, coming from two side. Bi means two, multi means many. Multipinnate, here this is multipinnate. So these are the different types of fibers we discussed. This is the unipinnate here, bipinnate, and this is multipinnate. Okay, all this we had seen. Then also we had seen that the parts of the muscle, that is, it has four parts: the origin, insertion, belly, as well as the tendon. These are the four features of the muscle fibers. Okay, origin, any muscle. Okay, origin, where the which is not moving, that part of the muscle which is not moving, that is called as origin. Insertion, that part where it is mobile end is the fixed end. Origin, insertion is the mobile end. Then the belly is the contractile big part. Any muscle has a belly. This is called as belly, and these white parts are called as tendon, which is attached part. That is called as the tendon, fibrous part of the muscle, which is helps in attachment of the muscle. Okay, these are the some of the features we had studied. Now we'll study further. Now we'll study the all the muscles which are there in the body. Okay, what are the muscles in the body? So because there are many muscles in the body, So we'll divide it into muscles of face, then we'll study the muscles of the neck, muscles of the trunk, which include the thorax and the abdomen. Then we'll discuss the muscles of the shoulder girdle and upper limb, then the muscles of the pelvic girdle and the lower limb, muscles of the upper limb and lower limb, including the girdle. Okay, so this is how we'll study the muscles. Okay, first we'll take up the muscles of the face and we'll discuss them in how they are arranged. So the muscles of the face and neck. So now if we go through, there are many muscles, but some of the muscles are very important for you, which you should remember. So these are some of the important muscles. Which are those muscles of the face, like the orbicularis oculi. So this is the orbicularis oculi. We had already seen this muscle before. This is one of the muscle which is circular muscle, one of the type of muscle, circular muscle fibers. This is called as the orbicularis oculi. Then we have the orbicularis oris near the oral cavity. This is the oral. Oris means mouth, oral cavity. So around that there is one muscle. This is called as the orbicularis oris. Orbicularis oculi. Oculi means eye, so it is orbicularis oculi. This is the orbicularis oris muscle around the mouth. So these are the two muscles around the two important openings. Then we have a very important muscle called as the buccinator muscle. Here there is a muscle called as buccinator, which helps in blowing of air. Blowing of air. Whenever we blow air into the mouth, this muscle acts. This is called as the buccinator. Then there are four muscles of mastication. What do you mean mastication? Chewing, eating food. Whenever you eat food, you chew the food in the mouth. So which are the muscles which help in chewing of this food? These are called as the muscles of mastication. Mastication. Which are those? One is called as the temporalis. This muscle here, temporalis, which helps pull the mandible. This mandible is moving up and down. When you chew, this mandible will be moving. So this temporalis muscle, which is attached to the mandible, it will pull up and down. So this is a temporalis muscle, one of the muscles of mastication. Then the second muscle is called as the masseter, very strong muscle. This is called as the strongest muscle in the body. This is the masseter muscle. One is the temporalis, then the masseter. These are the two muscles. Then there are two muscles which are deep inside, called as the medial pterygoid. It will be inside here, inside the masseter, deep inside. Medial and lateral pterygoid. There are two muscles here called as the medial pterygoid and lateral pterygoid. These are the four muscles of mastication. So these are the four important muscles which help in the chewing of the food, eating of the food. These are called as the muscles of mastication. Temporalis, this is the temporalis. Then masseter, this is the masseter muscle. Then medial and lateral pterygoid, which are inside medial and lateral pterygoid. These are the four muscles of mastication, chewing, eating. Okay, so this is the movement of chewing. This is done by these four muscles of mastication, helping chewing of any food particles and breaking them. So they can break even the bones. So that's why this muscle is said to be the strongest muscle in the body because it can even break bones. Now coming to the muscles of the neck. Okay, what are the muscles of the neck? There are two important muscles of the neck. There are many muscles, but we will discuss the most important muscles here because even in the face there are many other muscles, but we will not go into detail. We will study the most important muscles. Okay, there are two muscles called as the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Very important muscle. This muscle here. This is called as the sternocleidomastoid muscle. And then there is one more muscle here. This is called as trapezius. Trapezius. So sternocleidomastoid as well as the trapezius muscle. These are the two muscles which are present in the neck. They lie in the side of the neck. They are in the side of the neck and they help in the movement of the head towards one side or both the sides as well as in the flexion and extension of the neck. So these two muscles, trapezius and this is the trapezius and this is the sternocleidomastoid muscles. These two muscles are very important muscles of the neck. Okay, there are other muscles, small muscles. Will not go into the details about that. Supraoid, infraoid muscles, many things. So we'll not go into details about those muscles. Then going to the groups of muscles of the trunk. Which are those? Trunk means the thorax and the abdomen. There are some important muscles here called as the intercostal muscle. Costa means, as I had told you before, costa means ribs. The other name for ribs is costa. So intercostal means in between the ribs there are muscles. These are called as the intercostal muscles. Okay, so if you see here, these are the ribs, two ribs. In between the ribs, the space is called as intercostal space, and these muscles here, these are called as the intercostal muscle. Inter means, as I said before, in between, and costa means ribs. In between the ribs, whatever muscles are there, these are called as the intercostal muscles. So the space between the two adjacent ribs is called as the intercostal space, as I said before. And there are three layers of muscles. If you cut this and have a look at the closer look, then you can see three different muscles here. So three layers of muscle fill the intercostal space. So if you see here, this is the closer look of the same thing. Okay, so there are three muscles. Which are those? We'll study. From superficial to deep, the three layers of muscles are the external intercostal. This is the outside. There is one muscle which is called as the intercostal muscle. So it is external, outside. So it is called as external intercostal muscle. Then deep to that, there is the second muscle called as the internal intercostal muscle. Internal intercostal muscle. Then there is the innermost, most deepest muscle. This is called as the innermost intercostal muscle. These are the three muscles which help in the respiration. Okay, so these are three muscles which are there in the thoracic region. And this is the chest wall, thorax. Okay, and in the space there are three muscles. So these are the extra intercostal, internal intercostal, as well as the innermost intercostal. Action, these muscles help in respiration. As I said before, it helps in the respiration. Now, but the most important muscles of respiration is not these three muscles which are there, but there is one muscle here called as the diaphragm. Between the thorax, this is the thorax, and below is the abdomen. So between the thorax and the abdomen, there is one muscle here, big muscle, that is called as the diaphragm. This is the muscle here. This is the muscle called as the diaphragm. Diaphragm. Okay, so the diaphragm is a thin musculotendinous structure that separates the thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity. As I said, it separates this is the thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity. So this muscle here, it is present like this, which separates the above will be the thoracic cavity, below will be the abdominal cavity, and this will separate the two. Okay, so this is called as the diaphragm. Diaphragm is a thin musculotendinous structure that separates the thoracic cavity from the abdominal cavity. So the function of the diaphragm, it is the main respiratory muscle. Almost 70% of the function of respiration is done by this. When this muscle move up and down, so when these are here are the lungs, so when the muscle move up and down, so the lungs will become expanded and pull the air, and also they will the air will enter inside. So the main respiratory muscle is this one, diaphragm, because almost 70%. So these are lesser important. The remaining 30% is done by these three muscles: extra intercostal, internal intercostal, and innermost. Okay, so which are present here. So these are the lesser important. Most important will be the diaphragm. As I said, it is the mainly help in inspiration. There are two types of respiration. Inspiration means pulling of air inside the lungs, that is called inspiration, and leaving the air outside, that is called as the expiration. So this muscle help in the inspiration. Okay, the remaining thing automatically when it recoils back, so then it becomes expiration. So the main function is supposed to be done by the for inspiration. So this muscle will help in the inspiration. It also compresses the abdomen to increase the intra-abdominal pressure for abdominal straining, like whenever you are passing urination, defecation, vomiting, sneezing, cough, labor, lifting heavy weights, all those done by the help of the very important muscle is the diaphragm. So it not only helps in the respiration, but also help in the defecation, urination, vomiting, where the abdominal pressure is increased. Okay, so this is the function of this very important muscle called as the diaphragm. So now, if you see here, this is the diaphragm here. Okay, above will be the thorax, here will be the lungs, heart, everything, and below will be the abdomen, stomach, and other organs, intestines, everything here. Okay, so this is the diaphragm. Okay. So there are structures traveling between the thorax and abdomen passing through the diaphragm. So there are some structures which are passing through this diaphragm. So there is the central tendon of the diaphragm. So there is the diaphragm here. So there are structures which are passing. Which are those? So there are three important structures which pierce this diaphragm. Which are those? One is called as the inferior vena cava. This is the inferior vena cava. This one coming from the abdomen and passing the blood, deoxygenated blood into the heart. So this is called as the inferior vena cava, which pierces the diaphragm at the level of T8, thoracic 8 vertebra. Then there is esophagus. Behind that, if you see, this is the esophagus, which is coming from the oral cavity esophagus and open here into the stomach. So this is the esophagus. Then there is one more. This pierces diaphragm at T10 level, a little lower. Then you can see the aorta passing. So here is the aorta, which opens into the diaphragm at the level of T12, much more below. So inferior vena cava above, then the esophagus T10, and the aorta much below T12 level. So this is how the three structures will be piercing this diaphragm. Okay. Now coming to the muscles of the anterior abdominal wall. So we have seen the muscles of the thorax, that is the three intercostal muscles as well as the diaphragm. Now we'll see the muscles of the anterior abdominal wall. So there are three flat muscles which form the anterior abdominal wall. One is the extra-oblique, interno-oblique, and tarsal abdominis. So if you see here, so this muscles here. So here there will be external oblique, deep to that will be the internal oblique and the transverse abdominis. Okay, so here you can see the internal oblique. If you cut this muscle outside, then you can see these fibers are going like this. Then the internal oblique will be going like this above. Okay, so this is the internal oblique. Then we have the transverse abdominis. So this is the muscles which are going transversely. So it is called as transverse abdominis. So this is the external oblique, deep to that is the internal oblique, and here deep inside is the transverse abdominis. So these are the three muscles which are there in the abdominal wall, anti-abdominal wall. Three flat muscles called as the external oblique, internal oblique, and transverse abdominis. Okay, form most of the anterior lateral abdominal wall. The rectus abdominis muscle anteriorly. If you see here in the front, there is one more muscle here, which is called as the rectus abdominis. Let me show you. So here, this is the rectus abdominis muscle. So there are three muscles here: external oblique, internal oblique, transverse abdominis. Then there is rectus abdominis here. Okay. So the rectus abdominis muscle anteriorly, where you see the six packs, are because of the rectus abdominis muscle. Their action is to compress the abdomen to increase intra-abdominal pressure for abdominal straining and moving the trunk. So the main action of these muscles, external oblique, internal oblique, and transverse abdominis, as well as rectus abdominis, is to compress the abdomen to increase the intra-abdominal pressure for abdominal straining, like vomiting, as you saw. Not only the diaphragm, but also these muscles help in straining of the abdomen, which helps in micturition, defecation, vomiting, and other movements. Okay, as well as moving the trunk also. Okay, one is straining, then moving the trunk. So these are the functions of the muscles of the anterior abdominal wall. As I said, this is the external oblique muscle, this is the internal oblique muscle, and this is the transverse abdominis, then this is the rectus abdominis. Okay, so these are the four muscles which you are studying. External oblique muscle here, then if you cut this, deep inside is the internal oblique, then you cut deep inside, you go to transverse abdominis, then in the front you can see rectus abdominis. Okay. Now coming to the muscles of the upper limb, including the shoulder girdle. Which are the muscles? Okay. So there are in some important muscles here. One is called as the pectoralis major muscle. Even though it is in the pectoral region, it belongs to the upper limb. This is the pectoralis major muscle. Origin from the clavicle. So as you know, origin means where it starts. This is the non-mobile. It doesn't move. It is fixed. So this is the origin of this muscle: clavicle, sternum, and ribs. So this is the clavicle, this is the sternum, and the ribs. This whole thing is the origin, and this muscle go all the way and get inserted to the humerus. This is the bone called as humerus. So it is attached to the humerus. What is the action? Today, as I was showing you the action, the movement, one is the flexion and adduction. These are the two muscles done by the pectoralis major muscle. Okay, pectoralis major muscle. One is the flexion and adduction. I was showing you today the flexion as well as the adduction. Then we have the deltoid muscle, which is an important muscle which will be seen here covering the shoulder. Okay, that is the called as the deltoid muscle, a very important muscle for the intramuscular injections. If you want to give injection, this is the most commonest site where we give the injection, deltoid muscle. Okay, so here if you see here there is the shoulder, and here you will be giving the intramuscular injections. Okay, so this is the deltoid muscle here. This whole thing is the deltoid muscle. Has a large bulk and lies on the lateral aspect of the shoulder. It covers the shoulder joint, as I said here. It will be covering like this, the whole shoulder. Okay, the deltoid muscle abducts the arm. It helps in the abduction of the arm. Again, I was showing you today the movement of abduction. Okay, so it is common site of intramuscular injections. It is the common site for the intramuscular injection. Injection should be in the middle third of the deltoid to avoid damage to the axillary nerve, lies due to the upper third of the muscle. You see here, so this is the site where we give the intramuscular injections, side for intra, not anterior, not posterior, not above, not below. So this should be the region, because there are some important nerves to avoid damage into the axillary nerve. Now coming to the group of muscles in the lower limb. Okay, so muscles of the lower limb. We are not going to all the muscles. Some important we are seeing. Okay, so we'll be skipping many of the muscles. There are many important muscles: the biceps and triceps. Lot of muscles in upper limb, but we'll not go into detail. Okay, we are going to the now the muscles of the lower limb and the pelvic girdle. Which are those? One very important muscle here. This is called as the quadriceps. Quadra means four. Ceps means heads. It has four heads, so it's called as the quadriceps. It is made up of four parts. Origin of the vastus. These are the muscles: vastus lateralis, vastus medialis, vastus intermedius. You see here, and the rectus femoris deep inside. You see here, this is the vastus medialis. Then here, this is the vastus lateralis, and here this is the rectus femoris. Okay, and the vastus intermedius will be deep to that. So if you see, if you take a cross section of this one, then you can see this is the vastus lateralis, this is the rectus femoris, vastus medialis, and here if you see here, this is the rectus vastus intermedius. Intermedius is deep inside. If you remove this muscle, then inside will be this one. So in the front we have the rectus femoris, so the same rectus femoris. Deep to that inside we have the vastus intermedius. So these are the four muscles: vastus lateralis, vastus medialis, vastus intermedius, and the rectus femoris. These are the four muscles which form this muscle. This whole together it is called as the quadriceps muscle. It is made up of four muscles: vastus lateralis, vastus medialis, vastus intermedius, from the as well as the rectus femoris. Okay, so all these muscles take origin from different area, and the insertion will be into the tibia. All these muscles come to one particular point called as the tibia. Okay, So what is the function of this muscle? It helps in the extension of the knee joint, extension of the knee joint. Okay. Then the rectus femoris will help in the flexion of the hip. This is the hip here. It also, because the rectus femoris is going above, so it crosses this hip joint and it also helps in the flexion of the hip. Then we have some important muscles in the one more important muscle which we can view the intramuscular injection, that is the gluteus maximus. In the gluteal region, there is a big muscle called as the gluteus maximus. There are two sites where we can give intramuscular injection. One is the gluteus maximus and the deltoid. So the gluteus maximus lies in the buttock. So this is the buttock. It is the common site for the intramuscular injection. Deep intramuscular injections are given in this region, either in the deltoid one region, or deep injections will be given here in the gluteus maximus. Injection should be in the upper lateral quadrant of the muscle, again to avoid damage to this one important nerve here going, which is called as the sciatic nerve. So this is the site where we give the injection. This is the gluteal region. This is the gluteus maximus muscle. So this is the site where we give the intramuscular injections. So there are, as I said, these are two muscles. One is the sites of intramuscular injection. You should know which are those. One is the deltoid muscle, the common site. Okay, then the gluteal muscle. As you saw, this one is the gluteal maximus, where we give the intramuscular injection. Okay, so whenever we are giving injection to the gluteal muscle, remember there is a sciatic nerve coming here also. There will be one sciatic nerve. So to avoid damage, this is the sciatic nerve. Either side, both the sides it will be present. To avoid that, we give injection from the top. So look out for the sciatic nerve given in the buttocks in the upper lateral quadrant. Usually, we will give the injections in the upper lateral quadrant. Then we have the deltoid muscle. We have already seen in the upper limb, common side, upper arm, three fingers width. We have already seen that will be given. This is the deltoid muscle. Then there are other also sites where we can view rectus femoris. As we saw here, this is the rectus femoris. This is the rectus femoris. Okay, so here also sometimes we give some particular injections right on top of the thigh. Sometimes, rarely. Okay. Then vastus lateralis also outer thigh in the middle, especially for vaccination. Sometimes we give in the vastus lateralis. Again, if you see here, so this is the vastus lateralis where we give injections. So the advantage of intramuscular injections is it helps in why we give intramuscular injection, because there will be faster absorption of the drug which we give, lesser danger of causing tissue damage, risk of injection to blood vessel does not exist, muscle is less sensitive than vein to irritating and viscous drugs. There are drugs which are very strong, thick, so muscle will be less sensitive for pain and other than the vein. The other side where we can give will be intravenous, where we give the injections in the vein. So to avoid that damage to the veins, we give usually in the muscles. Okay, and there is faster absorption as well as less tissue damage will be there. Okay, so this is all about uh, the the muscular system, the muscles. So you should study all these things. Okay, for the examination. So these are the topics which we will take up for the exam. So start preparing.